I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I am joined to my right by Tommy, and we're going to discuss yesterday's game, loads of other issues at the club, which is baffling, and more, basically. Tommy, how are you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. All things considered, it's if you don't laugh, you'll cry kind of time. I'm afraid at West Ham, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. It's fucking bad at the minute. Give me your assessment of yesterday's game, Tommy, because some people are very much of the opinion we shouldn't be expected to go to Tottenham or win. Other people of the opinion of they were there for the taking. What are you saying?
Yeah, I mean they were there for the taking, and we didn't even try. Which, to be honest, well, it wasn't unexpected.
Yeah,
I kind of knew how Moyes was going to set up. Tottenham got spanked the week before by Leicester 4-1, and it could have actually been worse. They could have had a couple of more goals. Leicester, Harvey Barnes had one chalked off. The Tottenham are kind of in the mud. The injuries to key players, so they're struggling. They're low on confidence. It was a winnable game. Regardless of where they are in the table or the fact that they're Tottenham and that it was away, they were vulnerable. They were vulnerable yesterday, and funnily enough, I thought we kind of saw that vulnerability in the opening exchanges. We started off quite brightly. We used a high press. They were struggling to work the ball out from the back. They were making mistakes. Unfortunately, we didn't punish them. Jarabone had a great chance early on, and he just hit a really poor shot wide. He's got to be at the very least getting it on target and probably scoring from there, but he fluffed his chance. So early on, I thought, okay, this is a little bit promising. I like the high press, because we're causing them problems. They got problems at the back. They're obviously a bit nervous because they conceded 4 the previous week. And then for some reason, we just didn't keep it up. We never kept it going. We just dropped off. I don't know why, because that was actually causing them problems. But after that, really, I mean, there was nothing to report, really. After that, we really just sat back, tried to defend for the entire game. Inevitably, when you try, no matter how many people you got back there, if you're just kind of sitting back all the time and defending all game, at some point an error is going to happen. It's going to let them in, and then it's just a question of if they take their opportunity. We gave them 2 gilt-edged opportunities because of defensive errors, and they took them both. Well, they couldn't miss, really. I mean, the positions they were in, they couldn't but find the net. And that's inevitable. People will talk about, Oggy made a couple of bad mistakes. Sure, yeah, I agree, he did. But, if you're defending for that long, I don't care how many people you got behind the ball. The errors are going to happen over the course of the 96 minutes of football that we played. It's going to be hard for defenders to be perfect for 90 minutes when they basically have to defend the entire time. So, it's hard to blame them, really. I mean, and it's expected because Moyes just seems to not know any other way. I saw an interview he's done after the game.
Yeah,
where he said, I just wanted to kind of tighten things up at the back defensively. It's like, it's not our problem.
He said
We've got one of the best defences in the league. Yeah, and he's talking about, I wanted to shore things up a bit more at the back. So he went more defensive in a team that cannot score goals.
I agree.
In a team that's not conceding that many goals, but can't score, he wants to shore up at the back. He's a fucking lunatic.
He is bad, I must admit, because he said something yesterday in one of his interviews, and I'd done a space late last night, and someone said that he wanted to look into the players' eyes and all that and see if they've got the sort of hunger. And I'm like, I'm not being funny, Dave, but I don't know what you're seeing. I look at West Ham at the minute, Tommy. I don't know about you, but we've got no attacking threat whatsoever. We are basically, and there was an interview after on Sky Sports. Graham Souness, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and Robbie Keane was talking, and the man spoke absolute sense in what he was saying. He said West Ham just turned up to be a counter-punching team. Basically, if you want to look at a boxing term, we was taking loads and loads of hits, and all we was doing is just counter-punching all the time. We never had no firepower of our own. And, excuse me, it was poor. It was just poor. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
like,
like to stick with your boxing parlance.
Hmm.
I mean, tactically, you can do that fine. It's a legitimate tactic. There are counter punchers. But the thing is, when you swing, you got to land something.
yeah,
If you're a counter punching boxer and you can't punch, you can't land a
agree.
blow. I mean, you're going to lose every fucking fight. And unfortunately, that's the situation we're in at the moment. We don't look like we can beat anyone because ultimately you've got to score some goals to win some games, and that's
Yeah, no.
one of the things we just cannot do. And the alarm bells are ringing for me because we're not 6-7 games in where we're saying, all right, Moyes has got to get on the training ground now and figure out how to score more goals. 23 games played, and he still hasn't got a clue how to fix it. And if he hasn't fixed it by 23 games, how's he going to fix it by 30 games?
Do you think he's lost the dressing room? Because I keep seeing little things appearing, little excuse me, Instagram posts. There was one that came out recently today that Sam on Twitter put out, and I looked at it, and it was Areola saying about positive vibes. Like, how can you sort of work when you haven't got positive vibes? I think the players have had enough, and they've just down tools. I ain't gonna say they're down tools. It's hard for me to say they're down tools, but they are not playing for the manager no more. It's as simple as that.
Like this is the first kind of weekend where I actually feel that's the case now. I think it's been coming, but I think this is the first weekend where I thought, oh, we really are banging trouble now, because I actually think for the first time, I think he's lost the players.
Yeah.
And again, like you, I'm not saying there's a mutiny or anything like that. I'm not saying there's discord in the dressing room or on the training ground or anything like that. So, like you, I don't think it's a case of the players having down tools.
Yeah.
I just think they can't take it anymore, and they've completely lost faith in what Moyes has asked them to do. That they have no more belief in what Moyes is doing than the fans do anymore. And I think that was obvious this weekend from the fallout now that we've seen. Even the club captain, Declan Rice, coming out now publicly criticising the tactics that we're using. I think the players realise that it's not working, it's not changing, and that they desperately need us to try something different. I don't know if that will translate over to David Moyes. We'll find out on Saturday against Forest, because no doubt Moyes has seen all of these things that we're going to talk about. Whether it will have any impact on him whatsoever, I doubt. He's incredibly stubborn. I don't think he listens to anybody or cares what anybody else's opinion is. But I think the players now have absolutely zero belief in what they're being asked to do. And once that happens, however hard it might have been to win games before, it becomes even more difficult.
I agree. I do. I really do. So, Daddy, how are you, man?
Hello there. How are you guys?
Another day in paradise, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well done, West Ham.
Speak
to me about yesterday. What you're thinking?
It was terrible. Like the first half was okay, but we never actually looked like scoring. And like the second half after that, I was like upset the whole day. It was just terrible.
And it was bad, mate.
And apparently we're not gonna sack him. And if that is true and we get relegated, the blame should be on the owner. He could have acted multiple times by now, but he's just waiting.
I agree. I agree on that. I had a little discussion with Kane on Twitter before I'd done this live, and I turned around and said to Kane said something about, like, who do we bring in as a manager? Like, who's really out there to come in and sort of change West Ham and keep us in the league, basically. And I said, the problem we've got is that we're in a situation now where we've left it so long, we don't know which way to turn. If we keep him, we're sitting on our hands and hoping David Moyes saves us. If we get rid of him, we're taking a risk by getting someone in who could hopefully keep us in the league. So, if I agree, I've been nervous about this for a long time on this channel. Right? I turned around and said to the lads online, me and online have been having it fucking consistently over the last sort of 2 months. And yesterday was the final straw for me. Like, I look at him, I look at the last few games. I went through like a big monologue yesterday of games. The one game I did miss was Wolves. Went to Wolves, we lost 1-0 when we played awful again. Didn't really do nothing in that game. And when I look at Bournemouth going there the other day and winning, I am deeply concerned, mate. And I've never been more concerned for a long time.
And Southampton, they beat Chelsea twice. They got 6 points from Chelsea. We only got 1 point from Chelsea. Not good enough. What's it called? Leeds, they went to Man United a few weeks ago, and they drew with them. We're not going to draw to United, so we're going to get 0 from them. Spurs yesterday. I see people saying we shouldn't expect to win. Spurs just got battered 4-1 by Leicester. So you can't tell me we couldn't give a better fight than that. Like, no effort.
Joe, what it was, I'm going to bring Tommy back in on this, Me and Tommy discussed this about 4 or 5 weeks ago. When we played Everton, I'll never forget the preview. We said, if you don't win, he's gone. But if he wins, he keeps him in the job for another 4 weeks. Because you look at Everton, then we had Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham. Now, he wasn't expected to get any points from them games, but he's expected to get something against Forest. Now, if he goes and beats Forest, it keeps him in the job for another 4 or 5 games until the Southampton game on the 1st of April. So I'm worried, mate. I'm worried. We need the points, don't get me wrong. I agree. Like, we 100% need the points. I don't ever want to see West Ham lose, but if us winning, it's not doing us us winning on Saturday won't do us no favours, really, if we keep him long term. Do you know what I'm saying? So, what are you saying on that, Tommy?
Yeah, I think ironically, when we look back at the end of this season, beating Everton at home could have been the worst thing that happened for us. If we'd have lost that and got the bullet, maybe we'd be in a much better position right now, and things would be looking up. But look, it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's crazy. Like, if we beat Forest, and I'll be completely honest, I don't think we're going to beat Forest on Saturday.
I don't think we are either.
No, if Moyes is manager, I think we lose.
Go on, Tommy.
Yeah, I think best case scenario Saturday is a draw, and obviously that should not be good enough to keep him in a job. But then, I think he should have been long gone. I can't believe he's still here. So what the fuck do I know? He might lose that or draw it and still be in a job. We don't know, really. We hear reports of this and that, but we don't know. But even if we were to scrape a win against Forest, I don't want to hear any shit about this. Oh, we've turned the corner, and the Spurs game was a blip, because that's what you'll get from some fans. You look at the fixtures.
West Ham haven't turned no corner, not one.
No. And you look at the kind of remaining, the next few fixtures. They're tough. They're tough fixtures. Forest are not mugs. They're not mugs whatsoever. They'll fancy they can come to our place and get something, and rightly so. And then we have to go to Brighton. We all know our record against Brighton. The odds of us going there and winning. We've won one away game all season.
Villa?
All season.
And that was lucky.
Yeah, and that was a lucky win away to Villa.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first half of that game. It was horrific.
Yeah.
And that was when we played with wing-backs and 3 centre-backs, and he actually had to change the formation at half-time. It was that bad.
Yeah.
I made 2 subs at half-time, which is very unusual for Moyes, but that's how bad it was.
I remember that game because I covered it on this channel. Me, Tom, Affers, I love Tom, and Lucas was going at it after the game. And people were saying, why are you going at it? We've just won. And I said, it ain't about winning. It's about, look how we've won that game. And ever since then, we haven't won a game away from home.
Yeah, it's a one away win all season. So realistically, between now and the end of the season, how many away wins do you think we're going to get? We have to go to Brighton. Our next couple of aways are like Brighton and City.
Yeah.
It's good luck. And then we've got home. See, people are hanging their hat on these home games that we've got coming up against Forest and Villa and Southampton. We're not getting 9 points from them games. Sorry to tell you, break the news to you. We're not.
I think we're lucky.
And I think if Moyes is in charge, by the time we play, say, Southampton at home, end of that game. If he's still here, I think we're cooked. We're done. It's over. I think we're getting already to the point where even if we lose against Forest or draw against Forest and he gets the sack, any new manager coming in's got a bloody job in his hands with the fixtures. We're already banging trouble, in my opinion.
I agree. I really do agree on that. I look at the Forest game before I get to Eddie in. I look at the Forest game. It's like that's a must win. It's just like even a draw's not enough in that game. And what it is, Forest haven't got to win that game. They could turn up to Stratford and play for a draw. Like West Ham don't break teams down. I'm not happy with the system. I really am not. I keep having this argument with people online. Me and Alfie go at it with the system. He says it's a good system, but West Ham are wasteful with their chances. I turn around and say, when you're setting in a defensive way, the first thing you think is defence rather than attack. I'd rather West Ham set up in an attacking way to attack teams.
Wasteful with our chances. How many, not on target, how many shots did we get off against Tottenham?
Well, I'll tell you a stat before I get to Daddy in. Someone put it in my chat last night. They said, James, we've had 4 shots on target in 3 games. That's embarrassing. Like, do you know what I mean? And Fraser Foster yesterday had nothing to do, really.
He had to make one routine save from a Bowen shot. That was it. That was his day. That was Fraser Forster's day. Leicester fucking peppered him last week because they knew. And fucking knocked 4 in and should have been more. And it's
terrible.
But to be honest, James, I'm kind of numb to it now because
so am I.
As long as Moyes is still there, I mean, this is just what I expect.
I
expect this.
I think for me, I agree on that. What you just said there is exactly how I feel. I get angry after the game. I do this stuff. I talk about West Ham because I love this team to death, like everyone else. Yeah. But now it's coming to a stage where I don't look at Moyes as the problem anymore. I look at the owners. The owners are allowing him to still be here. Moyes is a stubborn man. Right? We all know he's a stubborn individual. He's not going to walk out on his contract. He's got a lovely contract there. He'd be a mug to walk out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way that we get him out is if the owners throw him out the door. Do you know what I mean? And that is, it's as simple as that. Like, I just don't see how we move on until he's gone. Like, I see these debates online. I see different people having their opinions. I know you can't take Twitter and Facebook and all social media outlets as gospel, but you do have to look at it. These behind some of these profiles are people who are genuine fans, and they're shit scared worried, man. I mean, like, I've never, and I am worried. Like, I'm seeing a lot of like similar sort of traits to 11. To 2003. 2003 is coming up to me because I look at 2003 and we went down with that team. And that team was a good team, which would give this team a good run for their money in this day and age. And yeah, I'm deeply concerned, man. So, Daddy, what do you want to say before I let you go, man?
I just thought of something. So at the beginning of the season, I think you did a space after the Brighton game, and everyone's like, "We're not going down. We have too good of a squad." And you told them, "No squad is too good not to be relegated."
Yeah.
You told that it was like the 3rd game of the season, and you're like, "No team is not too good to be not get relegated."
Yeah, I've had this argument all through the summer.
Do you want to hear a stat? Do you want to hear a good stat?
Yeah.
In the last 8 seasons, teams with 20 points or less after 23 games, all but 1 have been relegated. All but 1.
Ooh.
Newcastle survived. They were the only team of the 8 that survived relegation, being on 20 points or less after 23 games.
And we're on 20. So basically, we are technically a win behind, but we're out. Like, so basically, what you're basically saying is we need to beat a team that we're not expected to beat, really, to sort of get to a level where we can actually overtake it. That is frightening, mate. That is frightening. So, Daddy, what do you want to say before I let you go, man?
I have this one photo on my phone. It has the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
And that is what our owner is doing. He is backing the manager. Is insanity. He is expecting different results after the same thing happens over and over and over again.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So, Daddy, thank you very much
Thanks
for coming
for
on,
having
mate.
me on. You guys have a good day.
No worries, man. You
Yeah.
take it easy. Peace.
Yeah.
Did you hear David Moyes yesterday when he was talking about Ings?
Yeah.
So we need more goals from Ings. He's like, he's on the bench, mate. What the fuck are you talking about? You bring him on for like 15 minutes, and he's isolated, and you think he's going to start banging him in. What the fuck are you on?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know where it's gone wrong though at West Ham though. Like I remember doing the spaces in the summer, and I said to people in the spaces, and people come at me big time. I was like, "Oh, you're negative. You're not a fucking real fan." And I'm like, "I am a real fan. I'm far from negative, and I can see with my own eyes that something's definitely not right here." And I've been proven right. Me and like on this channel, I have the lads on, and some of the lads like Mitchell have been with me and turned around and said, James, you're bang on, right? And Mitch has been worse than me with certain players. But on the other hand, I just think the fan base now is starting to look at it and go, we are in deep shit. Like I think the realism of relegation starting to appear in some people's eyes now. And where some people think that we're too good not to go down, is a major problem. I've got to get to this comment though, which is I'll get to that one in a minute from Richard. Sullivan gambled and lost. He should have seen there was nothing to suggest Moyes could turn it around. I agree slightly with that comment. I think our owners are gambling to stay in this league, mate. I think they're gambling. I think I've called this before. I said Sullivan won't invest any more money into his club, yeah, because what's the point if he's going to sell it? Like, you wouldn't do your house up before you sell it, like if your house is worth a lot of money anyway. So that's the worry for me, that he's gambling with our football club, and if it goes wrong, he could still be here.
Yeah, Sullivan's rolling the dice, and he needs to be very fucking careful. Because that could backfire dramatically. I mean, the repercussions for the club and for Sullivan, if we get relegated, and we will under Moyes, are huge repercussions. How's he going to sell the club? It's going to be worth fuck all. We don't own the championship team that doesn't own its stadium. There's no parachute payments. We're going to have a fire sale of our players, so we're going to lose a ton of money on players. It's just, and why? Just to save 7 million in the short term. 7 million for a Premier League club is a fucking drop in the ocean. It's nothing. Just it's bizarre to me. If this is about saving a few quid, a measly 7 odd million quid, it's like, what? Someone needs to fucking grab his shoulders and give him a shake and say, what the fuck are you doing? The writing's on the wall, and it has been for a while. Just fucking get rid.
I do look at Moyes though, and I look at him and I think he's trying to do something he's never done. Like I've said this before, and I look at that system. Now I do believe that if West Ham was to change their manager on Saturday evening, if the result goes against us, and we go and get in a different manager or a better manager, a more proven manager, I believe within 2, 3, 4 games, West Ham will be up and running. I really do. I look at the talent that we've got. I look at Paqueta, Skamaka. Kera's not a bad player, but he looks bad in the Premier League for some reason. Like he wasn't a bad player.
I'll tell you what. I think on the Kera thing, I know he's made some errors. He's had games where he hasn't been great and stuff, but I think since he's gone in at right centre back, I think he's been pretty solid. Kera seems to be.
You go, mate.
Kera seems to be a bit of a whipping boy for the fans at the moment, and I think it's a little bit unfair, to be honest. Last 3 games at right centre back, I think Kera's done all right for me.
Yeah,
he's done it. Terrible. I think he's been all right.
All right, lads. I commented on another channel yesterday, and then today I get a text from a football prizes that I won a signed David Moyes. You can't write it. Oh dear, mate. You can't write it, mate. No, that's brilliant. That's cheered me up. That is. I've got to be honest. Big up to you, man. Listen, I hear you. I hear you. One thing that you said to me today, right, which you spot on with, is numb. A lot of the fan base do feel numb, right, to the situation. What it is, it's very generational at West Ham at the minute. You've got the younger fans who go on XG and data and everything, and you've got the older fans who have been there, seen it, and done it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I look at it that I've been there, seen it, and done it, like you have, and like every other sort of older fan has. That this is not new to us, but what we're seeing is the same stuff that happened years ago. Like, and the concern is that I've just got no faith in him, mate. Literally no faith whatsoever in David Moyes to change this around. But because what it is, if we win on Saturday against Forest, then it covers him for another four games. It covers him for Brighton, Villa, City, and then Southampton will be the game.
Will be another Southampton at home. Will be the next must win. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Southampton will be the game. We
will be rock bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just I just don't understand it. I really don't. Let's get to some comments.
See, the thing with me, before you go into them,
the
thing with me is like a few weeks ago I said, that that I was numb to it. That as long as David Moyes is there, this is what we're going to get. So when we get that performance against Tottenham yesterday, it doesn't surprise me. I don't watch their goals going in. I'm not swearing. I'm not shouting. I'm not coming on YouTube ranting and raving.
Yeah,
because
that's what I've got to stop doing.
I just know that's what's coming. I've got no rants or raves left in me. As far as I'm concerned, like what I've said for a while now is that once the board decided to back him, when the World Cup break came, it's on them. They're carrying the can now. Moyes is going to do what Moyes is going to do. This is exactly what I expected.
Stubborn man.
So there's no point in me staying angry at Moyes. I know what he's going to do. I know we're going to get relegated under Moyes. And so as long as he's here, it's on the board.
I know.
So there's no point in me raving anymore. I expect it.
I agree. I do agree on that. I've got to stop losing me rag and all that. That's one thing. From today onwards, I'm going to stop losing me rag because I must admit, yesterday I think it was because it was Tottenham. I think if it was any other club, I don't think I would have lost it as much. But when I'm seeing them singing, dancing after, and they just won a cup that they've never even won, it's just it's painful. Like I see them singing at us, laughing at us, and that grains into me big time. Do you know what I mean? Because it just, as a West Ham fan, it just does.
Yeah, even against Forest, let's be honest, are another relegation threatened side still.
Yeah.
Even if Saturday, if we don't beat them, I don't expect to. So I'm just going to be sitting there, whatever the score is, just thinking, well, of course.
It's just taking it, isn't it? It's just taking.
I just can't get angry anymore. I know what's coming.
I know what you mean. I've got to get to this comment from Lawrence, because he brings it up about Fornals. What is going on with Pablo Fornals, mate? Because and listen, me and you have clashed with Fornals over the years. I have got to admit, he should be playing. Like, why he's not in this team? We need work rate. And if it means taking certain players out and putting him in, why is he not in there? Has there been a falling out between Pablo Fornals and David Moyes for you? Because there must be. Because why is he not on the pitch? And why is he not playing?
Yeah, it's a strange one because Fornals was definitely one of his favourites.
Yeah.
There's no denying it. Like, he would start the vast majority of the time on that left-hand side instead of Benrahma. Even when it was the wrong thing to do. I mean, he would play him there. I don't think Fornals should ever really play out there. It's not his position. He doesn't thrive out there. He can play much better as a number 8 or a number 10, but he's never really played in those positions very much. So it's hard to say. It's a bizarre one because he was a favourite of Moyes, and all of a sudden, he can't get a kick really. He just came off the bench the other day, but and Moyes loved him because he put in that work rate and he put the tackles in. He'd work back and help out the fullback, and he'd do all the things that Moyes loves to see you do. I could only explain it by some kind of something's happened that Moyes just has taken a dislike to him for some reason because he's a very good player for Fornals, and there are times when he'd be very useful in the team. Say like Benny's form hasn't been great, the last couple of games. That's the kind of time you think Moyes might look at it and say, okay, we'll give Pablo a run out. but that's not happening. So yeah, it's a strange one. You're probably right, James. Something's gone on that we don't really know about in the background.
Someone told me. Someone told me. Yeah, I was on another channel. I remember it because I was thinking about it last night. I was doing a space late last night. I didn't even go to bed till fucking late last night. I think I went to bed about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm being honest. Because it's my day off today, and I was just livid. I was just absolutely sort of livid with the way everything's going. Like, I think one, it was because it was Spurs. Two, the way we played. The aftermath of it. All the videos from the Spurs lot just grinds into you like a good one. But I've got to say this, like, when I do look at things now, and with Pablo, I believe something's happened last season that's sort of filtered through the summer. And basically, him, Kufal was another one. Lanzini's definitely another one. Like, Lanzini can't even get on his pitch anymore. Like, he's just, like, his wife come out on Instagram and put a sort of message. Like, West Ham put out, it wasn't our day, and she put, it would have been your day if you, like, well, and put a picture of Pablo or something like that. Like, don't quote me on it, but it's something along them lines. He's missing sort of fired a sort of dig at West Ham. And I see Alfonso Areola coming out today, whether like an Instagram thing or was it yesterday or whatever it was. I do believe that there is something definitely wrong in the back room. Like, and anyone who doesn't think there is deluded. You know what I mean? Even Deck, right? And you can have your opinions on Declan Rice, yeah? Comes out in an interview yesterday and said about 5 at the back. First thing he says is about 5 at the back and our attackers are isolated. Now, I can see that from a mile off. Do you know what I'm saying? And if he's saying it and he's in the team, he's the captain of the ship, something's not right. Something's not right. And this is the problem that we have. We have got a manager who's too stubborn to change. We've got players who, I don't think they've got the bottle to go up to him and say, this is not on, and rebel against him. I think they have to rebel against the manager, really. All of them. Not just one or two of them. I think they all have to come out and say, well, this is not on. We're not getting up the pitch. We're not creating loads of chances. If West Ham, for instance, Tommy, was making chance after chance, having shots, hit the target, and the keepers were having good games, right, and keeping their teams in the games, I could respect it. But I can't respect it when we're having one shot on target in the whole game against a reserve goalkeeper. That's one thing I can't. I just can't accept that. Like, I look at it and I think, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to walk the ball in the net? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, and I mean, like, you know, whatever discord there is on the training ground in the dressing room, it has to filter up to Sullivan. I mean, you can be pretty guaranteed that as a club captain, Declan Rice speaks to Mark Noble a lot, and he's our sporting director. You know, if is Noble having these conversations with Declan Rice, where Declan can actually be completely straight up in a private conversation with Noble and say, look, the way he's setting us up, we've got fucking no chance. We can't score a goal. We're going down like this, and he won't fucking change it.
The problem is how much influence does Mark have over Moyes? That's the problem. Like, because I do think, right, Mark Noble coming to the club.
No, my point was more that Noble surely then would be having a talk with Sullivan. You know what I mean? And say, look, he's losing the dressing room, mate.
Yeah, I understand that. But then if you've got certain man with different agendas, if you've got Mr. Sullivan upstairs in the ballroom going, I'm not going to get rid of him. I'm still in the club at the end of the year. Why am I going to go and bring in another manager on more money than Moyes when? I mean, because let's be honest, we all know it, and I don't want to dig any other channel out, but everyone knows that Sullivan is a fucking very, very greedy man, and he's like he takes what he wants, and he don't give out anything, and he's taking the money from the fans, knowing full well that we've got a manager in place that is not doing his job. An ambitious owner, someone who cares about West Ham United Football Club, has Moyes gone after the Leicester game. That's someone who.
I mean, just. Do you think there's a single other club in the Premier League wouldn't have sacked him by now? I don't think so. I think any other club, given the job he's doing this season, we've won 5 games out of 23. 1 away from home. We can't score a fucking goal. Any other club would have sacked him long before now. and said, "No, fucking, we're going to go down with this fucking prick."
See, I agree with that comment from Adam. Yeah, afternoon. What else can we do as fans? We have to go out there and support the players and the manager at the weekend. I agree, Adam. Yeah, we do have to. Well, as fans, we would always support West Ham. Yeah, we fucking love this club. Well, I'm not going to lie, we all do. But there comes a time where you've got to look at this and say, this is just not on. This is just not acceptable anymore. I expect the home fan base to be right up for it against Forest, because Forest is a massive game. But the problem is with that, if we go and beat Forest on the weekend, then he gets a pass again. So, like, you've got to weigh it up. Like, you've got to pass against Everton. Yeah, we've got 2 good draws, but they look better on paper than they actually were. Like, the Chelsea one, we could have easily been 3-0 down. Easily, before we got the goal, right? But we got the draws. So you've got to respect that, yeah? The one thing that scares me is that it's what he's coming out in interviews. It's the players coming out with saying things. The way I look at it is that if the players are not feeling the vibe of the manager anymore, then what chance have we got of winning games? And that's as simple as that. Like, what do you think, Tommy?
And look, I completely get the concept of support the team on the match day, during 100%. The 90 minutes and all that, right? I completely get that. But I think there also has to come a tipping point, because ultimately we're fans of West Ham, the club.
Agree.
Not the manager, and ultimately not the players, the club. And at some point you have to look at the bigger picture and say, right, what is right? What is the best way for me to support West Ham right now? So for me, I think there has to come a breaking point. So I think on Saturday, if we don't play well and we lose or draw, I think at the end of that game, the fans are perfectly entitled to let the players know, let Moyes know, and let Sullivan know how they feel about what's going on this season at the club, and that it is not good enough. I think at the final whistle on Saturday, if we haven't won, I think the fans should let it be known very, very clearly that they want Moyes gone.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to do that is not to actually be shouting about, sack Moyes. I think chance of sack the board. I think if the board feel the heat, if Sullivan starts feeling the heat from the fan base, if he's like, shit, they're not even going after Moyes, they're coming after me.
Yeah.
He has to feel that pressure to say, right, that's enough. It's enough.
I agree.
We can't take any more of this. Get him gone now, or fucking get yourself gone.
I actually do agree on that. I really, really do. I look at it like this. I understand what people are saying with Moyes, but I think sometimes people are looking at this as a sentimental thing for Moyes. Look what he's done in the last 2 years. Look what he's doing right now. That's what people have got to understand. Look what he's doing on the present day. It's not good. Like, it's not good. And the fear is how do we win games?
Yeah, and the things he's saying are fucking alarming.
They are
really alarming stuff.
Yeah, they are very concerning. Some of the things he's coming out with, like the Danny Ings thing, the interview yesterday with him. Doing the interview, I brought Danny Ings to score goals. I'm thinking, mate, he's played about an hour's worth of football. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest. He's treating Ings. Yeah. He's treating Ings, Tommy, like Ben Rama. He's going to him. You know what? Get him on the bench, which is right. But he's expecting so much from Ings to come on and change the game when we're defending all the time.
He's talking like Ings has played 90 minutes for the last 3 games and hasn't scored, and it's like, what?
I agree. Yeah.
And then he's talking about, after the game, I wanted to kind of try and shore things up a bit at the back and kind of improve us defensively. One of the best defenses in the league. So we can't score goals. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
and then in that fucking podcast he's gone on, he's on about, you have to expect seasons like this. We can't be challenging for Europe every season. You have to expect, that we're going to be down there some seasons. Like, it's like, what? Mate,
that angers me. That does, mate.
You've spent 200 million quid on a team that was already good. What the fuck are you talking about? He's trying to
Yeah.
mug us off.
That is one thing that angers me when he did say that. I will be honest. When he did say that, I was like, oh, so what is the ambition then? Like, as West Ham fans, one thing I will say, right, we don't ask for much as fans. As West Ham fans, I've got 75 people watching, right? We don't ask for a lot as fans. We don't ask for trophies every year, right? All we ask for, in my eyes, and people agree with me in the chat or disagree with me, yeah? All we ask for is a good team, a hard-working team, gives it 100%, and leaves and plays for the shirt, basically. And what will be, will be. I'm not seeing anything of that at the minute. I understand what people are saying about the players, but some of these players are letting him down also. Right, some of them are just not performing. Bowen's not been the same player as he was last season, which is
But he keeps
maybe
playing him.
yeah, but he keeps playing him. The system for me is the problem. I think when you're setting up with 5 at the back, Declan Rice, who's a DM, Thomas Soucek, who's a sort of a DM, Flynn Dans, who's a DM, that's a problem to me. We're just not fluent. We've got no pace. We've got Angelo Bonner at the back, who shouldn't even be on the pitch. He should be a backup defender. We let Craig Dawson go when we all knew, as fans, for 6 months, that Craig Dawson wanted to leave the club. And come 1st of January, we should have had a replacement in place for Craig Dawson to allow Craig to go. It's not Craig's fault. That's our fault because we haven't changed it. And it's just like we're trying to. How can I put this? We're trying to cut corners at the minute, and eventually we're gonna run out of corners to cut, and we're gonna end up getting burnt in the end. So I don't know. I'm worried. I keep saying it. I'm worried, but I am worried. I am so terrified that if we go down, and I see fans saying, "Well, it don't matter if we go down. Well, we're bounce straight back." I think
Yeah.
that's not the attitude for me. It really isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, Moyes would be going into this Forest game knowing it's on the line for him, knowing that if he doesn't win this game, he's very likely going to get sacked. And it'll be really interesting to see if there's any reaction from Moyes. If he just thinks, like a normal person might think, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to have to go for it in this game, really go for it and try and score some goals, play a much more positive attacking team, get after them. But I bet you won't. I bet you still play negative defensive football, and it'll still be a snore fest. And he's irredeemable. The man's completely irredeemable, in my opinion. But
Adam's put these in the chat, Tommy. We might as well go through it while we're here. Fixtures: Forest, Brighton, Villa, City, Saints, Fulham, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Palace, Manchester United, Brentford, Leeds, and Leicester. How do we get points from them, my friend?
There aren't going to be many, unfortunately. The mistake people make is that they keep saying, "Oh well," they keep kind of cherry pick which games they think we're going to win. So they say, "Oh, win at home to Forest, and we get a win at home to Villa, and we get a win at home to Southampton, and we might pick something up away at Bournemouth, and we might get a point at Palace, and we win at home to Leeds and all that." Are you fucking sure about that? Are you really sure that's where we're getting our points? Because right now, if we cannot score goals, we're not winning games. It's as simple as that. And the fact that Moyes has had these 23 games where we haven't been scoring goals and he still hasn't figured it out, what makes you think he's going to figure it out all of a sudden now? That's the problem. We don't score goals. So we cannot be confident whatsoever of getting a win in any of those games. Now, I'm sure we will. There might be 2 or 3 games there that we might nick. We might nick 2 or 3 of the games. But you can't say that we will, because we can't score goals. And if you can't score goals, you can't win fucking games of football. And I just don't see where all of a sudden Moyes is going to do something phenomenal and all of a sudden we're going to start banging them in. I'd love to see it. It'd be great if it does happen and we go on a run. But, I mean, there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever so far this season that that's likely to happen. So there are very few points for us in those games. I mean, we're talking, we've got 20 points from 23 games. can we really get another 20 from 15?
I look at them
With 8
games,
less
right?
games.
I look at them games. Now I'm going to take the Forest game out of the equation, because if we win the game, Moyes is here, then I don't see how we do it. If we lose the game, we might be able to like get a manager in and change it around. But I'll tell you what, I will go with the Forest game. Let's start off. Forest, win, lose or draw for you Saturday?
I think we'll share the spoils on that one. I think that'll be a draw.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think it's going to leave us in the lurch with Moyes big time. I think the Brighton game is minimum. I think the best we're going to get out of that is a draw. I don't see us beating Brighton in Brighton. We've never beaten Brighton in the Premier League ever. So how do we beat them now when we're in our worst moment?
Yeah, I think we'll lose it.
Yeah, and the fear is a good hiding in that game and all, because if they turn up, then they're on it. I think the Villa game, I think we can win, but it's it's what West Ham turn up. If West Ham turn up and they're on it, they can beat Villa. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like it's ifs rather than like more sort of. I'm not saying it with my chest. I'm saying it with me head. Really. Do you know what I'm saying? I think City is no points. I'm not getting nothing there.
For the Villa game, I think they're much better set up to score goals than we are.
Yeah.
So I think they'll beat us as well, if I'm completely honest.
I think City's a no. I think Southampton we can win. I think Southampton is a game that we can win. If the whole place is vibing, we can win that game. I actually think we can beat Fulham and all. I know Fulham are having a good season, yeah, but there's going to come a stage with Fulham where they're going to start to sort of have a little dip. So I do think we can turn Fulham over. Sorry, Issa Diop at the back. We all know about him. So if we can get our players back fit and firing, that would be a game I would target. I think Fulham are massively punching above their weight this year, but I think we can win that game. Arsenal at home, we just don't beat Arsenal, do we? Really, like very rarely that we beat Arsenal.
No matter how we play, we fucking we have no luck against Arsenal, do we?
Every time we play Arsenal, it's either like a 3-0 or 3-2 or like we just. I think the last time we beat them, correct me if I'm wrong, was when Declan scored years ago, and that was a 1-0 win. So there's that. I think Bournemouth away is tricky because it's going to be a massive game, whatever the circumstances. Obviously, we've got to take into account Europe and everything else, but I do think with the quality we've got, we should be beating Bournemouth, like 100%. Like we've got to turn Bournemouth over.
Well, I mean, on what basis? You see, you're saying we should beat Bournemouth, but you're looking at the two squads. You know, we should have beaten a lot of teams this season.
Yeah,
you know, we just don't beat them because our squad doesn't come into it anymore. It's the Moyes factor. He's won one game away all season. I just these games. That's what I'm saying. It's dangerous to say, "Oh, we'll beat this team, we'll beat that team." At the moment, you know, could you name 3 worse teams right now?
I'll be honest with you. Before I sort of round this up with these fixtures, we're one of them.
We're absolutely one of the 3 worst teams in the league.
Like, and we're 18th for a reason because we're the 18th fucking worst team in the league. Do you know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that.
So I think under Moyes, I hand on heart. I think under Moyes we get very few points the rest of the season.
Yeah. See, I look at Liverpool. I look at Liverpool at home. That's a big game, right? It's always a big game, Liverpool at home. But can I see us beating them? Maybe get something out of that game. Maybe. Obviously, it all depends if they're in the Champions League and how far they've gone, etc. Palace is always a sort of win or draw place there. United, again, if United are pushing for the league or they're in Europa League sort of things, then maybe we could get something against them. But best I can see us getting out of United is a draw. I don't see us beating United. And in the last 3 games, Brentford away, Leeds at home, Leicester away. Now, depending on where they are in the table, we could have teams there that are on the beach. I think Leicester will be on the beach, if I'm honest. I think Brentford will definitely be on the beach because I don't think they're going to be anywhere. They're not going to be in no cup competitions. And then you've got Leeds. The Leeds one, I just don't want to go to that Leeds game thinking that we have to win that game. Like we have to win against Forest on Saturday. That's the one. Like if we have to play Leeds and have to win, then I'm going to be nervous, mate, because they seem to turn up against us, especially at our gaff. Like last year, they beat us 3-2, and it was a mental game, absolutely mental. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Anything else that you want to discuss, Tommy? Anything on your mind?
No, I'll tell you what. I'll just say that my hope is that after that Forest game, we'll have a new manager for the rest of those games, and that we'll start picking up some points, because there are points there to be had under a manager who knows what he's doing. So fingers crossed, that we'll get someone in, and whoever it is, if it's Rafa, so be it. Obviously not a great choice, but if it's him, so be it. If it's Hassan Hootel, so be it. Just get someone in who kind of knows what they're doing, who can give this whole place a lift. So it's going to be weird for me on Saturday. I'll be completely honest, because I've never sat down to watch a West Ham game and wanted us to lose, and I won't on Saturday. I always want us to win when we sit down. I'm a West Ham fan. When I'm watching us play, I want us to win. I want us to score. I want us to get the 3 points. But I'll tell you what, if we scrape a win Saturday, I'll be glad of the win and glad of the 3 points. But there'll also be that other side of my brain that's saying, this could be like the Everton win. This could be a win that actually keeps Moyes in the job and actually helps to get us relegated in the long run. So I'll be kind of mixed about it, because, so there's a part of me that if we don't win it and he gets the sack, I'll be thinking, not winning that game might prove to be worth it in the long run.
And basically what it is, you've got a new manager bounce to go into the Brighton game, fresh approach, new sort of look, and then I know I'm looking into the future massively here, but I haven't been wrong since. But if we was to go with a new manager, we could get something at Brighton, as in a positive result, and then beat Villa, and everything looks better.
If you look at all of the fixtures we got left, with the players we've got, if we're playing well, we're playing with a bit of form, and the players have got that bounce and that energy, and they've got that optimism back, there's a potential there for quite a number of points. There really is.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. I'm going to wrap it up there, Tommy. I want to thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really enjoyed this one. I must admit, we've had a really good discussion. Got people's views. That's Daddy on. It's been good. So thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really do appreciate it. For me, I'm having tomorrow off. I need a rest, mate. Yesterday was mental. We had so many things going on here, and I'm having tomorrow off. I'm not even going to talk about West Ham. I'm not going to look at anything West Ham related. But I'm going to be back Wednesday to do like a members stream like I done last week. Really good stream I done last week, so check that out. Then towards the back end, I'm going to do a preview for the Forest game. It's the biggest game of the season by a long way. Everton was big. This is huge. This is a huge moment for West Ham. Lose. I don't want to see anyone saying that you got to give him time and this and that. Lose against Forest, he has to go. He has to go.
I think fail to win, he has to go.
Yeah. I think I'll probably agree with that.
In that game.
Yeah,
draw's not good enough.
He has to perform on Saturday. He has to be more attacking, less defensive. And if he has a go on Saturday and we get a positive result, i.e. a win, then maybe. But I think it really does cover the paper over the cracks, in my opinion. I think West Ham are in trouble big time, and I think the players are starting to feel it, and they're nervous and all. So if they're nervous, how do you think we all feel at the minute? But we'll see what happens. I'll be doing a preview towards the back end, and then obviously covering the Forest game next week. So yeah, do check it out on E20 Zone TV. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel. Let's get to this comment quick before I go. You can't sack him now. It's too late. It's never too late.
Yeah, we can. Look, it should have been done a long time ago. That's for damn sure. But it's not too late. There's enough games that we can get a new manager bounce and pick up more than enough points to get us away from the relegation zone.
Yeah, I agree. The saying's got to change though. Either he's got to change, or West Ham's got to change, or they've both got to change. Something has to give at the end of the day.
Plus we've got to keep in mind, in my opinion at least, there's absolutely no chance of us winning a cup with Moyes. I think a new manager might even come in and actually not only just keep us up, but might actually go and win the Conference League for us.
Yeah.
If we,
Do you know
if we got
what?
that bounce and we're playing well and we're playing with
Yeah.
confidence finally, again, the Conference League is there to be won. We're just not going to do it under Moyes. It's just not happening.
Yeah. I think the Conference League and the FA Cup, in my opinion, and I know I'm probably going to get slaughtered for this, but they can go out the window, in my opinion. West Ham need to stay in the Premier League.
If
I
Moyes is
can't.
here, yeah. If Moyes is here, then
Yeah.
I think we'll get knocked out anyway. So
I just can't. I can't bear the fact of seeing West Ham in the Championship. Really can't. Yeah, that fault is. I even said it to my missus. I said, if West Ham go down, you don't want to be speaking to me for about a year. Fucking 100%, because I'll be on a different planet.
she'll have to, she'll have
Yeah,
to
so
move in with her parents for a while. Yeah.
yeah, I think something's got to give anyway. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Tommy. I really do appreciate it. Smash the like a video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I will be back soon. Take care. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.